So what is microcosmic orbit? Go.
You go.
Okay, so what it is you have a cosmic orbit, which is pretty big, considering that the cosmos starts at 8:30 up there above the clouds outside of the ozone layer.
Where's my straw?
It's over there. It's under the cosmic orbit. So the microcosmic orbit is really just a smaller version of the cosmic orbit, and it happens inside your body earlier in the day.
Blowing my mind. We also need to make a decision about whether we're going to look at each other or look at the camera.
Oh, feels much less natural to look at the camera and talk.
I think it'd be better if we looked at the phone.
Yeah, I came up with two things since yesterday. I came up with, I want to know what microcosmic. I watched some video that one of the ladies that was in your sex email.
Niadi.
Yeah,
Niadi
she was
Evers.
talking about that, but I was like, what?
She was talking about the microcosmic orbit?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
The black lady?
No. No, that sex email. Sent a lot of sex emails.
And I didn't get it. I was like, what are you talking about? I think she was directing it at a female audience.
Oh.
And like really kind of having her depiction or her practice of the microcosmic orbit.
Natrishka.
Yeah.
Natrishka is awesome. She teaches basically, what's that other sex guy's name? The really famous Taoist sex guy. Wait, I'm gonna access the file.
Bob Ocean.
No.
Harry Truman.
No, he's Southeast Asian.
Alfred Payton.
Oh, that's gonna bother me.
Binshi Yokna. Larry Tukshaw. 19 Hammerfist. Leftover applesauce.
Montauk Chia.
Word.
The microcosmic orbit, and I believe that it is, yes, something that originated in Asia, something that's been written about extensively in Taoist texts and also different Southeast Asian lineages. But the reason why I think it's useful to share about and is not only cultural appropriation is that that it's tracing sort of an ancient energy system in the human body, and through extensive empirical studies in those civilizations, they were able to track the way that energy moves through the body. And a lot of Chinese medicine is about doing just that. Oh my God, you're already spacing out.
No, listening.
And the whole principle is like uniting yin and yang, right? So yang goes up the back of your body.
Yang.
Okay, yang. You're just plugging yang gang.
Yang gang. 2020. Yang gang.
But there are different properties to yang and yin energy, right? Like yang goes up and is hot, and yin goes down and is more cold. Yang is more immediate, and yin is slower. So yang goes up the back of your body and then comes around and then meets your central yin channel, where your tongue meets the roof of your mouth behind your teeth, and then it sort of alchemizes the energy to go into your yin channel that goes down. So
we keep our tongue there a lot, don't we?
We do. Yeah, and it's actually because it's creating this great energy circuit inside your body.
Is that why you think you put your tongue there? You're like, oh wait, do I do that?
There also there's like a thinking point actually right here on our chin. That's a meridian in Chinese medicine. So when we go like this, we're actually tapping this like energy center that stimulates brain activity.
Why do we squint our eyes when we're thinking? I think because you're actively trying to squeeze out like our primary method of extraction is to apply pressure to something, therefore to get the physical matter out of the substance that you're applying pressure to.
You're just trying to squeeze your eyeball juice.
Yeah, so you're just like, you're trying to get it, you're just trying to squeeze it out. And get the idea juice into thought form.
Which is probably counterproductive, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what you read in that book. It's like when you actually contract your energy, you think that you're squeezing good stuff out, but you're actually limiting
Yeah,
what
you're
can get
closing,
from it.
you're narrowing the channel.
Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah,
about
so
what you
I
discovered.
came real hard the other day. It was really cool. So, yeah, historically, my orgasms have been, you know, good. They're orgasms. Like them, have a good time. But I have a strange relationship with them, and I've always felt that they were a little bit subpar, and it's always been very hard for me to come, too, which is another issue, but probably related. So I've been listening to David Data, The Way of the Superior Man, and he was talking about different breathing techniques to apply while you're cooming. And
While you're curcuming.
yeah, and so I was having anal sex the other day, and it was
Not with me.
No, not with her. She's got a boyfriend.
I have a boyfriend.
Yeah, she has a boyfriend.
I have a boyfriend.
I don't have a boyfriend. It's complicated. But she's a woman.
You have a woman. You're a woman.
My woman.
You're a woman.
I was having anal sex with my woman, and
That's a great sentence.
and I mean, it's been great. You know, it's been some of the most fantastic anal sex that I've had ever. It's just been fantastic, and I think the tight quality of the anus has made it feel really good. But so this time, it had also been about a week since I came, or Monster Manuals. I'd been a little bit. But so as I was approaching climax, I started focusing on my breathing a lot, and was applying the cosmic orbit. Then I realized I needed to be applying the microcosmic orbit because it's too big, and I live in an RV, and that has its own set of issues. So
Cosmic issues.
And
Is
and
it 8:30?
So, no, it's earlier. And so another reason. And so basically I started focusing on my breathing, focusing on her breathing as well. But as I started to come, I really tried to relax, as opposed to my natural inclination, which is like, ah! I was like trying to like instead. And I was breathing into what I believe was my pelvic floor, like lowering it. It created like a fantastic, really long, really exquisite orgasm where I came for, I don't know, and I know I can do better, but it was like a good 8-second, like,
Wow.
like strong, like, and it was a little bit of a breakthrough for me. So yeah,
That's
that
amazing.
was yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Thanks. Yeah.
The other thing that I think is great about anal sex is that you can ejaculate inside of the person without fear of pregnancy.
Yep.
And I think subconsciously a lot of
That
those
was
fears
dope.
of pregnancy, even if you're using condoms, even if you are like maybe on some sort of birth control, there's always like a subconscious fear that I think results in this sort of holding back of some kind. Whereas if you're having anal sex, you can like fully release.
Ain't no babies in the butt.
Except for the butt babies.
Yeah. But you can make as many of those as you want.
Constant butt babies.
Yeah.
A horde of butt babies. It's cool because I remember when I was first getting into like releasing into orgasm instead of contracting to the point of explosion, one of my mantras would be keep coming. Like even after like that initial moment happens, be like keep coming, keep that channel of energy that you just opened.
Right.
Yeah, expanded.
What's the longest you've coomed for?
Oh, I don't know. Guess?
I mean, yeah.
It's the longest I've come. Well, here's what I'll say. I really like expanding like the time leading up to the orgasm, and then when the orgasm happens, and then the time after. Like it's like the time leading up is this sort of ramping up acceleration, right? But you can make it like longer and more spread out. And I actually enjoy being in that place, sometimes even more than peak orgasm.
Yeah. So it's like a reverse trail.
Yeah, like make that part last really long and sometimes even slow it down and then bring it back. And then peak orgasm happens, and then sort of that gets me to a new plateau, and then making that plateau, like expanding it out. Because
there's something about being able to interact with orgasm energy when you're not fully in just like piercing mode.
And when for me, I haven't tipped. I haven't like reached the tipping point where then I'm on the other side of it.
Right. It's kind of like the incline up a roller coaster where you're like,
And the other thing I started trying to do is, in French, one of their slang words for the orgasm is the little death. And it can feel like that to me, like I'll orgasm, then I'll like sort of have this moment of like losing consciousness, like a blank particle moment happens. And then I sort of come back to myself. And I've started practicing trying to like follow the consciousness of the orgasm through. And it almost seems like staying conscious, like through this big transition, like through the white tunnel of light of death, and then being able to see what happens on the other side. And sometimes I can follow it all the way through, and it gets me in this place of like really extreme and exquisite peace on the other side, and I can sort of stay there.
I was just thinking about like what you're doing in an orgasm state is like reaching over into like the life source space.
Absolutely.
And like pulling life energy and condensing it and like into the sexual space, and like and pulling it in. And then fertilizing it.
Mixing yourself a martini.
Yeah.
I think that's why they talk about the microcosmic orbit, is because you are generating this huge amount of energy. I mean, literally the type of energy that could create life when you ejaculate. Like, that's how much power and potency is inside it.
Yeah.
And then getting in that microcosmic orbit and learning how to redirect that energy through your own circuit is about being able to harvest and cultivate and harness that energy inside your body, as opposed to like drawing all that life force potential in you and then like and going unconscious and contracting, like actually being able to collect it and bring it back into you.
I think like at least as a man, I think we get like we condition ourselves to when dealing with that sexual energy, like it's like it builds up, and then you get frustrated, and then you're just like and then you just need to like just so it releases, rather than a conscious, like, because you're never taught what to do with that energy. No one ever brings that up during your upbringing.
No, and actually all the cultural narratives are like you're saying, are like men have this like urgency inside them to come, to penetrate whatever, and if they can't do it, that's what actually makes them restless and crazy and blue-balled and aggressive and everything. And there's like such a cultural story around that like that's how male sexual energy works. It like needs to penetrate and needs to come, or else, you know, and if it's frustrated, God help everybody. Whereas actually having that cultural narrative about how male sexuality works prevents us from learning these other deeper, subtle, energetic skills, which are so basic.
Yeah.
Not basic in learning them, basic in like learning how to work with having a human body.
Yeah. God, I mean, I think I'm 32, like I think it's so difficult when you're trying to retrain the way that you've dealt with emergent sexual energy, and like practiced over and over again, like this is how you've done it. Like how many times have I come? Probably like 10,000.
Really?
No, that's a lot.
Let's think. Okay, when did you start masturbating?
Middle school? Does that sound right? How old are you in middle school?
People start masturbating all kinds of ages.
Yeah.
I think my most active masturbation year is when I was 9 years old.
Whoa. Yeah. That was later for me.
That was a good year being 9.
Nah.
I did, and then I went into this like huge like body shame dissociation experience when I was in middle school, and totally stopped masturbating, and then started again, and then had like a very serious boyfriend in high school, and then dated you in college, and then didn't actually have to teach myself to masturbate again until I was like 24.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. Interesting. How old are you when you're like your third year of middle school?
13, 14.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
13. So let's say you started masturbating when you were 13.
Yeah.
So that's that gives you 19 years
Yeah.
of masturbating. What do you think's your average, like per week?
Well, it's actually less now. But I'd say a good 5 times a week, I would say.
19
No.
years times 52 weeks a year times 5 times a week, more or less, means that you have maybe masturbated 4,940 times.
Sounds right.
Let's call it 5K.
Yeah. So yeah, like
Because we're not counting how many times you've had sex.
it's a lot less.
This is interesting. Do you come every time you masturbate, but not every time you have sex?
Nowadays, no. I've gotten really into the practice, whether I like go to Ross and look at sweatpants, or whether I like look at porn and masturbate. I've like gotten really into like checking it out and kind of like getting like and then leaving.
Wait, what? Oh, you mean in terms of not coming?
Yeah, or
You've
buying,
gotten better at
or,
not coming when you masturbate.
or buying sweatpants.
Right. Props on those sweatpants.
Yeah. Don't have enough money. Sweatpants.
I forget what we started talking about.
I don't know. Microcosmic orbit.
It's okay. I think we should probably end this podcast because obviously I want to go into like a deep psychological inquiry about like what coming means to you and why it's been difficult while you have sex, but maybe we can save that for another podcast.
Yeah, probably. And keep what you need and don't what you don't, because if you 40 years later, if you keep ordering stuff from catalogs, you'll be buried in shit, and nobody wants that, because if you're surrounded by like bocce ball sets and multicolored paper clips and
I don't think we need a moral in one of you one of those podcasts.
and another thing, try a coconut. I've been really into coconut water recently, and
Zach's late to the party.
that well, I usually don't come to the party.
Although you are into coming.
Yeah. That white fleshy part of the coconut is superb, especially when it's really cold. And
That's a moral I can get down with. Yeah, Murps and Zurps. Murps and
Murps
Zurps.
and Zurps.
Murps and Zurps. Murps and Zurps.
Ow.
This is Zach's used paper towel drawer.
Waste not, what not.